Shabbat, Shabbat, come home and rest. Shabbat, Shabbat, Yahowah's best. Lay down the weak, let your soul be free. Shabbat, Shabbat, come back to me. 6 days we work, then we bask. We leave the noise to hear Yah's voice. We listen, we learn, we struggle to know. We walk with Yah through the mikre. Shabbat, Shabbat, come home and rest. Shabbat, Shabbat, Yahowah's best. Lay down the weak, let your soul be free. Shabbat, Shabbat, come back to me.
Hey, everybody's shaking and dancing and grooving. Yeah, I love the introductory song. Happy Shabbat to one and all. So, Kevin, I understand we have another Leah original here. Miss Leah, do you know who did the graphics behind your lyrics and score?
I think this was a team effort.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure Depot took a lead in that as well.
What do you
I think
know?
others worked on it as well.
What do you know about it, Mariah?
I think Depot did most of the graphics. Maddie does the avatars, and so you pull avatar in and some of the clothing items and stuff like that from the ones that Matt makes, and then he puts them into the animation, and I just do the caps apparently.
Yes, when I go by Leah's computer, I see every time I go there, there's like 12 different avatars of me and Leah and of Dowd, and we have avatars galore, and I understand that Matt is the great avatar
Maker
with Leah doing the costumes and the styling.
Yeah.
It's like modern day paper dolls. Everybody,
it is. That's exactly
paper
right.
dolls.
Yeah, I want to add this. We're going to put this outfit on this one. We'll put them in this backdrop. Okay, so this is a collaboration. I love collaborations. It probably looks like Ruwth and Bo'az there. Is that the case?
I think so.
Okay, so that's probably Bethlehem in the backdrop?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay.
Why don't we play it? Play it again, Sam.
Why don't anything you want to introduce the thought behind the story?
The thought behind the story. Yes, it is imperative that Yisrael not wait. Not to, these ideas that people have about God and perfection and their own personal shame and guilt. No, Yahweh says, come in as you are and learn, listen, and you can live.
Yeah, I think it's might be a little bit different than that. You have to learn and listen before you can come in. And you can't come in as you are. You must come in as you must be, which is devoid of religion, devoid of politics, devoid of conspiracy and anti-Semitism and those sorts of things. So it's a little bit different than that. But once you're in, you can continue and have to and should continue to learn. So you can come in and will come in without all of the answers, but you will have known at least the basics, which are Yahweh's name, Dowd's reputation and what he accomplished. You'll understand the 5 terms and conditions of the covenant, the 7 Moedim that we attend every year. You'll have a basic idea, of course, of what God is offering, what he's expecting in return, and where we are on the timeline and who are his players, how he's carrying out this overall plan. So there's a number of things that are pretty much essential.
Oh, yes.
And then from that point, there is a lifetime of learning available to us all. All right, let's spin it up there.
Maestro.
Don't wait to become immaculate before you start existing.
Oh, that was an interesting take on Ruth and Boaz. I privately asked a number of questions, but just so that our audience is aware, and I think most everyone is, that when we first meet Ruth, she is fully aware of who she is. She knows where she's going. She knows Yahweh's name. She makes a very bold pronouncement and she is absolutely resolute in her determination. And she says, where you go, I go. Your people are my people. Your God is my God. And after making a rather powerful pronouncement like that, amongst the most memorable lines in the whole of the Torah and Prophets, she then makes a statement. She says, may my performance in this life be so impressive to Yahweh that he chooses to redeploy me. So she was actually aware of something that we really didn't come to know until about a year ago. So she was 3,000 years ahead of us in that regard. So she definitely had her act together in this from all that perspective. She then deals with a very irascible Naomi. Naomi is cursing Yahweh. Mm-hmm. And Ruth doesn't let it bother her. She tells Ruth that you really ought not be encouraging me to leave you. That would be a big mistake for you. And she's right. And she manages to turn Naomi around so that there is hope for Israel, because Naomi represents Israel, certainly the women of Israel. And by listening to and watching Ruth, she salvages Naomi. She wasn't able to salvage the men of Israel. They stayed malcontents. But she did have a powerful effect on the women, which I think is the role of Ruth. When she gets into Bethlehem, the first thing that happens is she gets the dossier on Boaz, and she's a rather determined young lady. And she says, well, then, without any further ado, let's go and find Mr. Boaz. And she shows up before sunrise in the corner of his field, which means she is fully appraised of the Torah's instructions regarding widows. They're absolutely entitled to reap whatever they wish to reap. They can even harvest, if they wish to, in the corner of a field. And it's supposed to be left for them. That's one of the reasons why we find Boaz telling his staff to go back to the corner of that field and you unbundle what you have bundled that's ready for the harvest. You unbundle it and you leave it there, because that's the instruction that we're supposed to do. And so she knows that she's entitled to do that. Now, she's got a premonition, because halfway through the day she goes into his house and measures for grapes. So she does have a premonition that this is going to go someplace. She's a bright young lady, and she's very full of herself, very confident. And it's pretty. So she's really got it all together. And so she's out there in a flowing gown, and she knows that Boaz is going to notice her. And sure enough, he does. And when he spots her, he asks his foreman, so who's the looker? And, he said, oh, that's Ruth. She's the Moabite. She came in with Naomi. She's been here all day, except for the time she went in to measure grapes in your house. And other than that, she's been out in the field gleaning all day. So, so Boaz, he decides, well, this is interesting. So he says, I think I better learn a little bit more before I approach her. And he tells everybody that's anybody in Bethlehem, spill the barley now. It's time for you to give me the full.
He doesn't tell them; he compels.
Yeah,
them.
He does. It's the absolute compel. And he actually goes to Yahweh and says, what do you know about her? He's got a really good relationship with Yahweh. And he does. He said, what do you know? What do you know about this woman? And it's Yahweh who tells him that I'm going to fulfill her work. Oh, that's pretty good endorsement. We're supposed to be working for Yah, and Yah says, no, I'm going to make sure that her work is completed. I'm going to fulfill her work. So that must have been, I would say, impressive. When you get an endorsement from God, that's considered pretty high.
Not bad for a girl.
Yeah, not bad for a girl. And she was cute too. So he approached her and he says, I know all about you. I know who you are. And I'm just here to tell you that you glean away in this field, but don't leave this field. And his instruction on not leaving the field was because Israel was very rapey.
A little rapey.
They were a little rapey. And it was dangerous out there, and he knew it. And he could protect her, but others wouldn't. And he wanted to protect her. He was impressed with her. And then he shows that he's got some game, and he said, well, should I tell the youngsters roaming around there to leave you alone? Is that what you want? And after they have this little discussion, and he tells her that she is welcome to be in his field, and he'll look after her and protect her. She falls down at his feet and says, I'm here to be your slave girl. And it's a really striking thing to say. He says, oh, but by the way, I'm not going to be like the other slave girls that you have. No. So don't get your hopes too high here. But that's who she is. And then she declares that she is the Nakara. She's the observant foreigner. She just blurts it right out. I'm the Nakara. And oh, by the way, you're the Nakar. So it's not exactly like a girl waltzing into town saying, I don't really know who I am, but I still got a dust in my hair. I hope to figure this out someday. She was way ahead of where we were even a year ago. So she definitely had it figured out. And she tells him very early on that she's the Amma, repeats it a second time, and then declares that her intent, and she was confident she would do this, she was going to deliver the kinsman redeemer. And she did many times. She delivered him as his great grandmother, as his surrogate mother, delivered him back to God, as his actual mother, and as the person who is now restoring his reputation to conceive the covenant family. So she's pretty extraordinary. That Ruth that she depicted came in
Quite.
Not knowing what was up. I think that was definitely an understatement of who this girl was. Maybe that was the girl before she figured out what she was all about. But nonetheless, I did enjoy the music. It's obvious that Boaz had something going for him other than his ability to dance. He looks like he had two left feet in the video. But that's fair enough. We're supposed to be striving for accuracy, I think. But it was it's a cute bit. I think that we will probably see another of these one of these days. Leah will have enough courage to do the second chapter of Ruth.
The naked Nobby?
I'm not quite sure.
Hey, I won't let you do that.
Fully naked Nobby, but we use subtleties and hints and sparkles and all sorts.
PG-13 Nobby.
PG-13 Nobby. But clearly, as they were having that discussion, they were definitely Nobby. So anyway, it's very very clever, very fun. The opening face that was created, that really is beautiful, the way they're creating the avatars.
The song itself was for all the Naomis in the world.
Yeah,
There are a few.
Now, where we are on the Luminary series, and as it relates to the book of Ruth, we're well into chapter 4, and we will finish hopefully chapter 4 this evening. We'll dive right into it and see what more we can learn from it, because it's really a powerful story. What most people miss, of course, in the story of Ruth is that it isn't just a love story. It is one of the most important prophecies there is, because it explains the thing that has tripped religious Jews up for better part of 3 centuries. They disqualify Dowd from being the Messiah, even though Yahweh claims 3 times that he is the Messiah. They disqualify him from being the Son of God. They disqualify him from being the returning king. They disqualify him from being the Savior. And it's all because there are episodes in Dowd's life that are pretty disturbing. Now, really one that is tremendously disturbing, I think it is fair to say that the closing chapter of Samuel is likely not written contemporaneously with the rest of the book. It's certainly not a historical portrait. And it's the one that has Dowd making the stupid mistake of choosing the wrong choice. It has Yahweh saying, because of the fact that you were mustering an army to defend Israel as opposed to relying on me to defend Israel, I'm going to give you one of 3 choices. And the only one that would have been reasonable to pick would have been the one that he'd be on the lam and have to be running from potential enemies for a number of months. And he picks another of them. It just doesn't fit right to say that God would even have that kind of discussion with him. And he and God weren't having a one-on-one discussion anyway. And it's totally out of sync with everything. And it's also the one that has Dowd telling his soldiers to go get a cup of water from Bethlehem when Bethlehem was at that time infested with Philistines. And it has God saying, this is blood water, just throw it out. That both of those stories are in that summary chapter. And before that summary chapter, of course, we have Dowd's farewell discussion where he has fully recovered. And it's just so out of sync to come to it that my view is that if you want to get to know what happened with Dowd, it really all pertains to Bathsheba. That was the crash and burn. And so the rabbis don't want Dowd to be the returning Messiah because they think that he is just too flawed because of what happened with Bathsheba. And what they don't recognize is that flawed Dowd having an affinity for a married woman and being unfaithful, and then actually having her husband killed is them. And that's what they don't want to acknowledge. The worst of Dowd in that situation is Israel. And it is the story of the surrogate mother and surrogate father, Ruwth and Bo'az, who return to deliver the last word picture, the 31st Mashal, and the 89th Mizmor, that resolves this terribly fractured relationship at this point between Yahweh and Dowd. And between the two, it works. And he is restored back into fellowship. And the purpose of that is to say, if he can, so can you. And it goes right back to Ruth's powerful pronouncement. I am the Amma, and I am delivering for you the kinsman redeemer. And that's precisely what happened. And it's a double entendre in the sense that she's not only going to play the role of restoring the relationship of the kinsman redeemer with his father Yahweh, but she, beside Boaz, recognized, is getting him to the point where he is recognizing that he himself is a redeemer, that he is one of the two people willing to pay the price to restore God's people into the relationship with Yahweh. And so that's the other part that is so powerfully prophetic. And what we learn in Yeshayahu is that, and it's emphasized all the way through Ruth, there are two Gaal redeemers, not just one. So the book is very prophetic of that, but it's also prophetic of we know from the 22nd Mizmor, and the 88th Mizmor, and Isaiah 53, that Dowd served as the Passover lamb. But he just didn't pop in there one day and say, all right, here I am, Rome. With me. I want you to crucify me today, please. Thank you very much. Yeah, here I am. Where do I stand in line to be the next one crucified? It's important. I've got a time schedule. I got to get done today. That didn't happen. And the Christian lie of their Jesus being born in a manger in Bethlehem, and of during the time of Herod, and then him having a real mother and father, and then him growing up and ultimately telling the people who he was and what he was going to do around 30, and then being crucified in 33 with disciples named Jacob and Yahuchanan and Shimon. That didn't just come out of thin air. Paul was not a very bright person. He was a counterfeiter, not an artist. So the basis for all of that is that the Emmanuel, Dowd, was actually born in 1 BCE, probably on Sukkah. And based on the prophecy in Ruth's his mother. Boaz is his father. God redeployed them to give birth to Emmanuel. And they didn't just give birth to him, they raised him. What we find out about Dowd with all of his lives is that he does not do well on his own. And he does really poorly without good parenting. And in his life, where he was the shepherd boy that became king, he did not do well until he had a surrogate mother and father. Yeah. You know, he's running from Shaul the whole time and quaking in his boots. And you wouldn't do that if you had a father that says, wait a minute, son, you're the firstborn son of God. Yeah. What are you running for?
Settle down.
Yeah, just settle down. I mean, chill. No one's going to ever hurt you. No. And then, you know, he has all this problem. He can't find a proper woman for him to have a relationship to save his soul. And every one that he picks is a disaster. And then he ends up in this Bathsheba thing where he's picking women based upon how they look as opposed to anything else. And he just doesn't do well on his own, but he wasn't designed to do well on his own. That's the whole idea. God designed him to be a son. It's just that he didn't measure up. So the whole story of Ruwth and Bo'az is to help Dowd become the son that God intended. That's our role. So it's a surrogate parenting. And then several times he is our actual flesh and blood. We give birth to him and we raise him. And that last series in 1 BCE through 33 CE, year 4000 Yah, there is a 0% possibility that the Dowd that we saw as the shepherd boy that became king in Israel is going to pony up and say, yep, that's what I'm here for. Okay, Rome, time to kill me. Let's get this done. Make it gruesome now, please. Nothing going to happen. He's not wired that way. He'll do it because he now knows who he is and he's being properly parented, but he's not going to do it without us being at his side the whole time. And that's what God wanted. God would never have allowed his son to endure that alone. And, you know, God still knew that, okay, it's going to be a rough, nearly 2 days, not fully 2 days, but a day and a half. It's going to be rough. But think of the dividends. You know, you're besmirched by your people now. You're in a position where they don't respect you. And for a day and a half, you'll gain the respect of the world forevermore. It's the right call. Plus, look at all the good you're going to do. You're going to measure up. You're going to prove that you deserve this distinction of being the firstborn son of God, the being king of the universe. You're going to earn it. You're going to feel good about it. And people are going to respect you. So it's going to be possible for you to do the job. It was the right thing to do, but it was not the right thing to do alone. So that's the story of Ruth and Boaz. That's who they are. That's what the story is all about. And under that basis, it is really a shame that story was ruined by Paul and Christianity, creating the myth of Jesus and Mary and Joseph and the like. And Mike, you wrote to me a few years ago. I was translating the 14th Mashal. And in the 14th Mashal, after using two terms for bull, it said that the manger and the crib would have been empty without the role he played. Remember your response when I wrote that? I do.
Vaguely.
Okay.
Yeah,
Listen,
manger is a feeding trough, but I don't think it's a crib.
It's a crib. It's
a crib
in
the sense of like a crib can be a grain storage for animals.
Mm-hmm.
But you're using crib as a baby crib.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what the definition of the word is, as it's laid out, and it says that the crib and the manger would have been empty, and without this bull playing that role, and so this is the story of the fact that we gave birth to him, and that raised him, and it is all over because in the 22nd Mizmor, right after Dowd has described in first person how crucifixion kills 500 years before crucifixion was even invented. He talks about natural childbirth, that he was born the old-fashioned way and he suckled on his mother's breasts, and how that was comforting now at this moment in his life. So it's the reinforcement for this story are all over. All right, so this being the case, we are now weaning our way out of the final chapter, and want to share with you what it says, and then we can begin to discuss this. It is, I go back to the last quote that we were on our previous show. It says, "He is for you accordingly," and this is now they're speaking of the child who is yet to have a name, that comes from Ruth after she and Boaz are official. After Boaz redeems Ruth, and after he redeems Ruth, and it's interesting the way that he redeems Ruth, he actually sets up an artificial scenario to explain what redemption is all about, and how redemption isn't a normal kind of transaction. And he makes a whole study with Israel and says, none of you have what it takes to be a redeemer because you're not willing to pay the price. So Ruth or Boaz doesn't want to make this him buying Ruth, because there'd be no one to pay for Ruth. And Ruth is already submitted to him, so he can't buy Ruth, but he can redeem Ruth by making a financial contribution. And so the contribution is to the land that was owned by Ruth's deceased husband. And that is what he is buying. And he says, Ruth is a package deal. Ruth comes with the land. And even that's fair, because Ruth was already on, and certainly in the area as a gleaner. And the land is land specifically designed to grow wheat and barley. And it is in Bethlehem. So he makes her a package deal so he can demonstrate that if you're going to be a redeemer, you're going to pay the price. And that was the essence of that story. So he has officially redeemed her. he has gone through a really messy discussion with the elders of Israel. And he leaves them saying, I don't want any more part of this anymore. And he and Ruth bond as husband and wife. And the next thing we hear is that she's not only pregnant, but she delivers a child. And this is what the other women in Bethlehem are saying about this boy. He is for you accordingly. So the child of Ruth and Boaz is for Naomi. Now, the only way that he can be for Naomi if he is solving a problem that Naomi had with God.
Mm-hmm.
For you accordingly, the one who restores, transforms, and even returns the soul. Now, that's pretty tall cotton for a kid that's, like at this point, 24 hours old, right? That he's going to be the one who is going to restore, transform, and return your soul. So
the only time it ever says that is about the Torah.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
So transforming souls and returning souls is the very stuff that the Redeemer is all about. And so this child represents the child of promise. He is the grandfather of Dowd. This child's son will be Ishay. And Ishay is Dowd's derelict father. So that is the prophetic text here, that the one who restores, transforms, and even returns the soul. Now, that is also indicative not just of Dowd, but also of Boaz, this child's father, because it is Boaz in the end who serves as the other Gaal that restores Israel's souls, particularly the souls of the remnant, and also of the covenant family. And the one put in place to resolve a challenging situation by comprehending the means to contain the problem, then sustain life so that it endures. Kul, the one deployed with comprehension and understanding to successfully manage a crisis, bearing the responsibility to resolve problems and to resist the opposition for the survival of the sustained and enduring while nourishing and providing life. That's a very comprehensive and amplified definition of Kul. But
cool.
Isn't that what these characters are all about?
It's muted.
Fixers.
Yeah, that is their purpose. They're fixers. They're there to sustain life. They're the means that life can be prolonged. And there is no set of circumstances where Boaz and Ruth are inserted by Yahowah or deployed by Yahowah where there isn't a serious challenge or problem to be resolved. They never get the easy job. And so this is a forecast for where they have been and where they're going to go. So the ones put in place to resolve a challenging situation, and they always do it by thinking their way through the challenge, comprehending the means to contain the problem and then sustain life so that it endures. Very powerful message there. And they're going to provide thereby restoration, even abiding to old age, to gray-headedness is what it actually says. And most of us will actually celebrate the realization. Men do it a little more openly than women. Women have a tendency to cover up the gray. With men, we pretend that it makes us more distinguished looking. So you're saying you have a little of those gray ones. You wouldn't. Leah, of course, doesn't have any. It's all
not a one. Not my
one.
mother. She doesn't have a gray hair.
No. And
do you
of
know
course,
how old hair dye is?
Do you
know how old hair dye is?
Sure.
It's actually so old that it's in the Torah.
Yeah.
Hair dye is in the Torah.
It's as old as Boaz.
Yeah. So women have been dyeing their hair for a long time. So I have fancy pants, like pharaohs and those kind of people. They did it too, unless they were played by Yul Brynner, which they didn't have any hair to dye. But nonetheless, looking around this crew here, we do have some gray hairs.
We got some gray hairs.
We have some gray hair, and I was providing most of about a year and a half ago, but when Yahowah kept on saying up the ante, up the ante, up the ante, after a while I said, okay, well, it's time to grow some gray hairs to go along with all of this. In fact, I was going to have a little conversation with God after this translation of Yeshaya 62, where he lays it on pretty thick, and I say, you may want to back off just a little bit. I'm not so sure that I'm going to measure up to quite that standard, sir. Let's punch it back a notch or two. But anyway, it says that you're going to live to gray-headedness, and I think that's a marvelous idea, that you restore life to the point that we can grow old together.
Yeah.
Pretty lovely. All right, so then it says, indeed, your daughter-in-law, and daughter-in-law is Kala. It is not the meaning of the word. The meaning of the word is to finish, to complete, to fulfill. So your daughter-in-law, who, for the benefit of the relationship, having completed this for you, she saw it through all the way to the end, and yet this would be just a beginning. But of course, in typical fashion, Ruth said, all right, we have a baby here. Here, mother-in-law.
All yours.
Yeah, all yours. I'll check in and give it kisses and tell it stories. But here you go. Here you go.
Give it back to me when it's rational.
Yeah. Bring it back to me when it can talk.
Yeah.
All right. I'm not sure that was the conversation, but it would have stayed. It would have been
something like that.
It would have been something that would have stayed in personality. We can't hide the.
It is the same conversation that I had with the nanny that I hired for Chanel. I said, here she is. She's a wonderful child. Whatever she needs, whatever you need, bring her back when she's a little more rational.
A little more rational.
That's part of the fun, though.
Well, I think, so it was a solid 3 years, and she was much more rational, and it worked out very well.
Parenting 101.
Face bomb.
Let someone else do it.
She's paid well.
We had a conversation with Leah and staff earlier today. I'm not so sure that there's some things that are proper, that are better. Some things are better kept a secret than they are openly discussed. Okay. Anyway, moving on with this story. Indeed, your daughter-in-law, she completed this for you and has given a child to him, who to show the way to enjoy life and get the most out of the relationship. This is good. It is desirable. It is productive. It is Tob. It is pleasing for you as 7 sons. This is as good for you as if you had 7 sons. One drooly poopy baby is as good as 7 sons. So, what do you think that's all about?
7 is Shabbat, right?
Yeah, got an idea there, Mariah?
I do.
Well, is the bit right?
Yeah, I think so too. What do you think there, Leah?
7 sons. Well, it definitely applies to the Moad.
Mm-hmm.
And a son is a builder.
Mm-hmm. How about
he builds the home?
7,000 years that this is going to play out?
Mm.
How about the fact that that the word for 7 is also the word for promise?
Shabbat.
Shabbat.
How about this is the promised son?
That's right.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, it is Yahweh's work through Dowd that Shub transforms, restores, and returns souls, but it's also his work through Boaz that does the same thing. This is achieved through the fulfillment of Pesach and Matzah, leading to Bokurim, but also Boaz as Yada will accomplish the same thing on Teruah. And it reminds us and the world that the most receptive and responsive souls are going to be gathered unto Yahowah on Shabuah and again on Teruah with the two ingatherings. So while the Bereth is the prime objective, Shub is the only means to it. Israel remains estranged from Yahweh, and he's on record stating that he will not return to them until they return to him. And I can tell you, they are a long way away. It's at this point, I see absolutely no progress in Israel.
No, you won't.
None. Zero. Zip.
I mean, it's just zero. No movement, no openness, no humility.
They have to have their Naomi moment. They have to be completely beat down and call me Mara before they shoot.
Call me Mara.
Before they're like,
Yeah, that's
I have
right.
nowhere else to go.
No. No.
Say those things to Yahweh before they shoot.
Well, I think we're all agreeing here, even under our breath, that they aren't there yet.
Mm-hmm.
That if it were not for the time of trouble, which God is not initiating, but He's announcing, they would not ever return to Him.
Never.
And they haven't
Never.
returned to Him in 4,000 years. They've been estranged since they first met. So why would we expect anything to be different? And God's had some very capable of spokespersons speaking to them, trying to awaken them, and they didn't listen. I mean, it's tough to get much better than Yahshua. Mm-hmm. And he really had a way with words, and it was zero.
Yeah.
So if Yahshua strikes out and has zero until finally he has a partner and they start collaborating, then and even then, I think it's because of the timing of the whole thing, and the seven spirits doesn't hurt, and the whole thing, and we're now working together as a team, as a family, and that's a big difference from where they were previously.
They even saw Yahweh on Chorub, right? And they still decided to go the other. I mean, they built a golden calf. They even had Yah, and even that wasn't the best of times, the worst of times. That there is no great awakening that comes out of that. Sure, they get rid of Jezebel and Baals, and they kill off the prophets. But there's no like, hey, and Israel was the best of places at that. No, they still walk away.
No,
they still don't go to Yah. They just
here you have this lovely love story between Ruth and Boaz, but the 2 chapters before that are the murder, rape of a woman and her dismemberment and the civil war that follows. So, we're not exactly hunky-dory here.
That story doesn't get any better either.
No.
After the rape, then they go to war with Benjamin.
Yeah.
And then the next story after that is they swear that they wouldn't give any of their daughters, the other tribes, the other like 11 tribes, they wouldn't give their daughters to Benjamin to repopulate Benjamin. Right. So what do? They go in and they go into this town that I guess didn't ally with them against Benjamin, and they kill all the men, they kill all the women, and they take 400 virgins out of this town and give them to the tribe of Benjamin. And then Benjamin's still not satisfied. They want more wives. So then the next part is they go to Shiloh, of all places. That's where the tabernacle is. And there's the festival. It doesn't really say which chag it is, but it's maybe Sukkah. Anyway, the women of the town, or the young women of the town, go out in the field and dance or whatever. And they tell the men of Benjamin to go and take them, go and catch them, and whoever you catch, you get to keep as a wife. So the story doesn't just end with the rape and dismemberment of the concubine.
No, it devolves.
And the Civil War.
Yeah.
No, it's just despicable. I mean, that's the transition. The last thing you read is what you just recited before you have Naomi coming into town. And that's why Boaz says, you're safe here, but don't venture out of this field. And I think you want me to tell the other young men in this community not to touch you, which I'll do if you ask me to do it. But it's your call. But
That's when she falls on her face.
Strongly suggesting you let me tell the other men in this town not to touch you because they're really rapey here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Israel is really a mess, and it's been a mess for 4,000 years.
What must you do to make an olive useful?
Crush it.
Crush it.
Yeah, crush it.
Or pickle it.
So
Yeah, same thing with
you can brine it or crush it.
Same thing with the grape if you want to turn it into wine.
That's right.
Yeah, same thing with grain if you want to make bread.
Yep.
All these
Crush
things
it,
have to be crushed, and that's what Israel's going through the crushing phase now. And at the end of it, there'll be 1,000 or so in the mortal remnant, and there'll be some also that'll be gleaned as part of Teruah. But the expectation should not be many. The expectation should be wonderful. Yah's very pleased with the results, but Yah doesn't like a lot of people, so that you have to have very few to please him. If you had many, you would disappoint him.
Yahweh wants a family, not a crowd.
Yeah, he wants a family,
Yeah.
not a
doubt
circus.
about it.
Yeah, not a circus. So it is shub for shub or no shub for you. Cool was translated expressly as one put in place to resolve a challenging situation by comprehending the means to contain the problem. I love that because that is really my analysis of these deployments. That is who we are. That's what we do. And also we can sustain life so that it endures because Nasalma man wouldn't exist without the deployment of Chinook in terms of his support of Adam, and then Noach and he and his wife's support of not only their family but listening to Yah's instructions and saving Nasalma man, and then you have Jochebed and Amnon that give birth and raise Moshe. And shape him up to the man who can serve as the liberator to free God's people from human oppression. And then you end up with this marvelous story. But this marvelous story is tucked into a really horrible situation with Israel.
Yeah.
So it's good that Mike shared that with us because they're put into a very difficult situation to resolve it. So cool is further expressed as one deployed with a comprehension and understanding to successfully manage a crisis. They're the fixers, bearing the responsibility to solve problems and to resist the opposition for the survival of the humanity and being able to sustain life so that it endures, nourishing and providing life. It's really one of the more expressive terms in the Hebrew lexicon. Well deployed here. Cool was used marvelously in Psalm 55:23 and 112:5, and then in 40:12, as well as in Malachi 3:2, all of which I'm sure Mike has memorized, and just in a moment he'll recite them for us. Under these circumstances, it reveals that someone is deployed to hold things together. It's one of those challenges when you're writing. Cool was such a cool term here. It was so fitting for the occasion that I went and translated those things, and I made sure that my definition worked in each of those environments and that it was suitable for them, because you're going to make a big statement, something like this, you'd better check out and make sure it worked. But then I didn't want to actually put those translations in the middle of the chapter because I thought it would take us away from the theme of the chapter. So you're always fighting, where do I chase the rabbit and where do I let the rabbit just kind of go and say, all right, I've done it for my own edification, but too much information sometimes is distracting. So anyway, I'll let Mike tell me which one of those translations I should put back in. So under these circumstances, because it's for darn sure he's going to check all of them. Under these circumstances, it reveals that someone is deployed to hold things together, to control the damage, to endure the storm. Oh my God, if we'd have been deployed in some storms, and to provide sustenance and relief so that mankind survives. Yeah, that's one of the things. I'm here just minding my own business. I'm translating Yeshaya 62 because I realize it's actually is a unified prophecy with the Yeshaya 63, which is the man from Edom who saves many. And I'm just minding my own business. I'm going back over and translating all the words. And very early on, the first 2 or 3 statements, God says, yeah, once I got this guy redeployed, finally I could rest. I could relax. But I could not rest or relax. And I was totally unsatisfied until I got my guy redeployed.
Yeah. Until he put
And
his
you're
best
going,
hand on it.
God,
Yeah.
oh, come on, God. I mean, tone it down. I mean, please. You want me to be completely gray? Yeah, I'm going to have as many hairs on my head as Will does. No.
Yeah.
Oh, this is not going to, yeah, this is not going to work. Good grief. And then he says, oh, well, I'll give you a sneak preview. It turns out good in the end. So don't stress, kid. All right. So cool is deployed with the anticipation of conducting oneself in accordance with God's plan. Yeah, he's cool with cool. That is for sure. Therefore, cool is translated as everything from comprehending the problem to containing it. It speaks of enduring to sustain life. There are even echoes of Gaal in the word because it is to take charge and bear the burden. With cool, we find a rare individual who is prepared to sustain and support human existence, nourishing the hungry, managing the situation while taking care of business. Cool term, that cool.
Yeah.
So to cool is to calculate the cost of providing whatever is required, and therefore it is to measure up to the challenge. Now, these remarkable individuals, they provide restoration even as they abide into old age. Well, and I can't speak for Leah because women don't reveal their age, but after 6,000 years, you can be expected to comb a few gray hairs. I don't know what their excuse is for the rest of you. You're not quite that old.
We're not holding up well.
You're not. Yeah, you're grand. Russell, there you go, man. The thing is, here I was within probably weeks of having my own ponytail. I could have been right there with Kevin and with you, Russell. I was right there, and Leah said, "No, we're not going for the ponytail," and so I went in for the Leah.
And Ma said no.
Yeah, Alma said no, we're not going for the ponytail. So, you want to keep the Alma happy.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, I sleep with the Alma, so it's good to have a happy Alma. Wookie, are you upset? Come here. Come on. You take care of the Wook. All right, it's been important all along that we are reminded that Kalal, which was a powerful term that we're unpacking in this particular statement. Okay.
There goes your tea.
Again.
Okay, here. Why don't you try this? You'll like that. You'll like that a lot better.
Oh, no, it just gets both.
That's cappuccino. Want me to refill the tea? Okay, there you go.
Wookachino.
Oh well.
My cup is your cup.
My cup is your cup. Yes.
Yeah.
My dog is your dog. All right. Well, thank you. We'll have Wookie just go right to it. Anyway, kalal is one of my favorite words. Who knows that a word like this would just sneak up on you? But as we were coming to appreciate the fact that tamam is the root of tamim, and it does not mean perfect. It means to complete, to finish, and to fulfill. We find that kalal means exactly the same thing. And one of the reasons I really like ka'al is that it is based on kol. Mm-hmm. Kol is the Hebrew word for all and everything. And so what kalal does is it proves a theory that I came up with about a year ago, as we were trying to figure out why Yahweh would use feminine endings to titles that he applies to men. Why is the Adam Parag gets the double whammy of the ending, the feminine ending, and he's a dude. Why does God do that? And what I came up with is that what the ending does on a masculine title is it doesn't make the person a female. It makes the man more productive, so that he has the two aspects that God describes on the way out of Eden. the incredibly powerful emotions that really drive human relationships, and also the ability to calculate and to reason. But also, a man can only be productive building things, not delivering offspring. And God wants offspring as well. We're doing cappuccino.
Finish it off with a little cappuccino.
The little cappuccino for my Wookiee. I talked to him about it. Might be stunning his growth for him to drink cappuccino, but he didn't seem to care. He views himself as 6'2" anyway. So
he's kind of short for a Wookiee.
It's
Bigger on the inside.
He is a little short for a Wookiee. Look what he did to the rest of my
Wow.
cappuccino.
So indeed.
Yep. So I'm glad you're content here, Wookiee. How about, I offered this stick to your pal Kevin, but he didn't take it. So there you go. So we were talking about Gaal, and as opposed to Koleb. Koleb is the Hebrew word for dog, which means all heart. Kalal is this idea that you add to kol, which means to finish. That sound in the middle of it is not supplied by one of the letters. It could be kol just as easy it is kal. It's three letters. The kef, which is the open palm of the hand, the shepherd's staff with the lamed, and the person standing up, reaching up to God with the hay. Yeah. So in this case, what the ending does is the same thing it does to every one of the titles that God uses that have an ending. It makes them more comprehensive. So it is passion and intellect. It is strength and finesse. It is a man with an ending can both build things and communicate things, but also produce offspring. And so it is the best of two people coming together. It is this unification of men and women being together. But it also is very pronounced if you're looking at the Paleo-Hebrew alphabet, because with the hey at the end, whatever it was being described is now being presented as a person. Mm-hmm. So it is the person who is the finisher. It is the person who is going to complete and fulfill. Adamah, the bloody red man of the earth, well, it's a man standing at the end of it. Parah is the bull represented by a man at the end of it. And that is universal with all of these endings. So in this case, kalal means not only everything, but to finish and fulfill everything. So it is the most expressive use of kol, which means all, but all from a productive, complete, total perspective. Oh, so Wookiee, you got your paws on my books. It's like you're going to run down and jump off the desk now that you've taken my coffee and my tea. And do I have that correct?
What do you wanted?
Mission accomplished. Moving on.
Mission accomplished. All right. There you go, pal. It's a dog's life, huh? So Kalal is a finisher, someone who can be counted on to complete whatever the mission requires. And that was Ruth in this case. She delivered the baby, literally. And in this case, the conclusion of the Amma's work is for there to be children for Yisra'el. And so she is completing her mission in this word. And in this way, she shows the way. There is no woman who is Tob better or more productive, more pleasing or beneficial to God. And, well, she's cute too. All right. So in these words, we are introduced to what Yahowah would inspire Yeshayah to profess half a millennia later. We are witnessing the harbinger of the child who was born and the son who was given. So why do you suppose that Yahowah revealed that this one son would be as good as 7? Getting back to that question.
Son of the promise.
Yeah. Is it because the forefather of the 7 iterations of Dowd? 7 iterations of Dowd. If you look at him as Adam, Shem, Eldad, the Dowd that we know, Gabriel, Emmanuel, and as Elion when he returns. Now it's 6 unless you want to consider Gabriel, but Gabriel is a very robust, powerful, and important representation of Dowd, even if he came in and came out over a course of a couple of days. So 7. So maybe this child is equal to 7 because, well, Dowd would have 7 lives. Yeah. Is it that there are 7 Moedim? Which is your answer, Uriah. Is it to be filled between his father and his grandson that those 7 Moedim would be fulfilled? Or is this boy's seed the means to enter this 7th millennia? And there's no way into the 7th millennia other than through the seeds that were sown by this man into the garden and beyond. The fact that Ruth's son was given to Naomi, I think, also speaks volumes. He was always for her because Israel needed to be restored. So then it reads, then Naomi, I'm favored, accepted, and she grasped hold of the child. And she placed him on her lap against her bosom. And she became for him a trustworthy and reliable, loyal and dependable caregiver. We have our first nanny. It is a mom, and leave it to Ruth to find a nanny, even going back 3,000 years.
Yep.
They say that when you're being redeployed and you have these same souls, the personalities can't change. You are who you are, for better or worse. It doesn't change. So that's why when I met Leah for the first time and we did our thing together, it was essentially the exact same thing as what we read in the book of Ruth. The same personalities playing out their lives. Yeah, different
no
times.
Problem
but
gleaning in the field. I don't do diapers, right?
I don't do diapers. Okay, so
Don't get me wrong, I love babies.
Oh,
but
yes,
after a minute, like
after a minute. I love babies, but after a minute.
yeah.
She
You
is
can't reason with them.
She is the model mother. That's why there are no babies that come into the covenant. The Amma is the mother of the covenant family. There are no babies in the covenant family.
No babies.
Okay. So now that we know that. So before embracing this gift, be sure to ponder his parentage. Boaz was from Bethlehem, and he will return from Edom. And Ruth was from Moab, and is now in Yahud. One was a Nakarah, and the other will be the Nakar. And in all of this, there is the realization that Yisrael and Yehudim are naming conventions, and that Moab and Edom are next of kin.
Kissing cousins.
Kissing cousins. As we ponder the implications of this revelation, beware that Am does not say or even suggest that the once disgruntled and disparaging Naomi nursed the child. Instead, he nursed her back to health. It was the child that actually nursed Naomi back to health, returning her to a place where she could be Ammon, trusted again by Yahowah. So sorry, dear Ruth, but you nursed the baby.
Oh, well, that's, yeah.
Oh, you're no problem.
You still got to feed your baby.
Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah.
Okay. Eat quick.
Don't
Kit.
do the
okay,
diaper
quick. Kit.
thing.
We have a time limit here of 1 minute per encounter. So
Eat up.
eat up in a hurry. Do not Do not poop while I'm doing this.
No, just they will right after though.
They do right afterward. That's where you give them back to the caregivers.
Here you go, Naomi.
Lift the
There you go.
baby.
Oh yeah, and then the burp.
Yes.
I will never forget it. I was, I've been a salesman my prior life, and the gentleman that was responsible for the world's largest glass company is a French glassmaker named Durand, and I had the exclusive rights to Durand glass and my territory, and which was California, and he was a really sharp young man, and he invited me over to his home to have some chatnouf du poop and du pop and pouy foussé, along with a lovely home cooked meal. And there we were, and he says, "Oh, let me introduce you to our baby, who was like a month old." And they handed me the baby, and the first thing the baby did is throw up all over my suit and tie and shirt. Just okay, that was charming. Actually, it was funny. It was a funny thing, but
Whoops. That's funny.
They're good at that.
they're good.
adorable.
They are good at that.
Liked you.
So it is possible for the most asinine of Jews to return to God. And that is really the story of Naomi, who was genuinely proof of this. And she's one of many, but nonetheless, we see her recovery. Now, that said, after 30,000 posts on X pleading and prodding with Jews, I think it's actually 33,000 now, to listen and return, I haven't had a single success to show for my effort.
Nor I.
I feel a little bit like Yahowah at this point. Those who had once been chosen have chosen to be everything but Aman, loyal, trustworthy, and reliable. They remain incorrigible. Rather than trusting God, who proved dependable, they have placed their faith in their religion, their politics, and their military. Boy, would they be disappointed. Once again, we have a reiteration of a child is born and a son is given, and his name will be called
Emmanuel.
And so the female residents called out to him, summoning him and appointing him by the proper name, reputation, and renown, Shem, by saying, a son is born for Naomi, my favored. They announced, read aloud, and they called out his name and renown, his Shem, as Obed, repeatedly exposed and enveloped to serve as a witness. This is Obed with a Wah in it. It begins the same way, but it then goes to the Wah. It's the Ain, but in this case, not Ain Be'eth Deleth. It has the Be'eth and the Deleth and the Ain, but it adds the Wah to the name, so that in addition to being work, because Abed would be spelled the same way, would be to work in Hebrew, to serve, like Obed Edom means serves Adam or works for man, is what that name means, works for man or serves Adam. Either one is adroit in the naming convention. But Obed would mean repeatedly exposed and enveloped to serve as a witness. Obed, naked in the sense of being openly visible, and covered in the sense of being protected. To work, making a contribution by offering testimony. It is from Obal, stripped bare, naked, and exposed, and Obed, enveloped and covered and completely infused and permeated, as well as Od, returning and repeating, continually doing something over and over again, while restoring as a witness to provide testimony regarding the future, as a warning, and of course, Abad, to work and serve. Cute name for a kid.
Mm-hmm. Like it.
He was the father of Yishe. And Yishe is I am. It is from Ish, to exist, and to be, and Ani, I. So Yishe is I am. The father of Dowd, beloved. That's a pretty good genealogy. You go from Boaz and Ruth to Obed to Yishe, I am, Dowd.
I'm good at names.
Okay, good job. Actually, with the women of Bethlehem, but you had to accept the name that they chose.
Oh, okay.
As a prelude to the line of men who would fulfill the Mikre, invitations to be called out and meet with God, we have a brace of Kara in this text. And as we ponder the value of names, there is a pair of Shims in the text. Ruwth and Bo'az would conceive a man named Obed, one letter removed from Obed Edom, which means the man who works for Adam or just serves mankind. And that is the man who delivered the Aaron Bereth to the Temple Mount. We're having a real fiery discussion over lunch today as to what's going to be on the Temple Mount. And, you know, I'm of the conclusion, I've certainly seen it in my mind's eye, that after the Dome of the Rock and Alaska Mosque are gone, that Yahweh is going to put the tent of the restoring witness there, and then we're going to bring the Aaron Bereth and place it inside of the tent of the restoring witness, and we'll have the altar that will serve as the place for the sacrifice, and the later the burning and the eternal flame that will be set to the east of it. And so I see it, the tent of the restoring witness. They saw an actual building that God replaces the Dome of the Rock with an actual temple, and I think the actual temple is going to be a hypercube made of light that Dowd gets to destruct upon his return. And I sort of like the parallelism of Obed Edom delivering the Aaron Bereth to the tent of the restoring witness on top of the Temple Mount, and doing the same now. And I sort of like which is not something Yahweh doesn't do very well, but the idea that it's subtle. The tent of the restoring witness is not grandiose. It's just subtle. You know, here we are temporarily until the king arrives. And once the king's arrived, we'll get serious and build the house of the covenant and let the king have that responsibility. The king's more important. I just like it that way. It feels more comfortable.
It's a good explaining moment too, because this idea that the rabbis have that we, in order for the Mashiach to come back, we have to start building the third temple, right? There's that, they have that sense of idea, and we show up with the tent and we're like, no, guys, ain't nothing, no, that's not how any of this works. No. You know, yes.
I mean, Dowd was not allowed to build it previously because he has blood in his hands, and the blood in his hands happened to be an indicator that he's going to serve as the high priest, and he's going to sprinkle the mayoreth which is the mercy seat of the Aaron Bereth, with the bull's blood and the goat's blood upon his return on Kippurim. So it was it's a beautiful prophetic symbol of all of that. But when Yahweh said, "No, you're not going to build it. Your son's going to build it." But I'm going to create a diorama here for you, and you're going to be able to see the whole thing in your mind's eye. But this one's going to get destroyed anyway. Mm-hmm. So don't you want to build the one that's not destroyed? And it's just perfect for God to do it that way. And so that's the way I think it's going to be. It is a marvelous teaching moment, and it's something kind of understated and subtle. And God's not doing a lot of things that are understated and subtle, that particularly related to Teruah, and with the Adam Apra. There's nothing really very subtle about the bull either. So
nothing subtle about showing up with the Aaron either. There's nothing subtle. I mean, you show up on the Temple Mount with the Aaron, people know you mean business. There's no doubting that. I mean, you end up after the final sacrifice, and you're turned into a flaming sword, and you wipe out the religious and the political and the militant that have been attacking Israel. You're going to get a few people's attention. Yeah,
and there's nothing really subtle about Yahweh transforming the whole. Yeah, and what's subtle about Yahweh transforming the earth back into conditions of the Garden of Eden and getting rid of all political and religious garbage. We're not going to be doing a lot of subtle stuff at this point, but there is still 1,250 days and nights before all of that happens, and a little subtle, a little low key. And that's why I'm going to have this discussion with Yahowah. I mean, it's not going to listen. It's but nevertheless, we're going to have a discussion. It's going to be good for me anyway to say a little low key here. Let's play this kind of down low here for just. Let's let it build up. Like a good song. Let's not come in with the hammer.
You mean like parting the Red Sea?
Yeah, like parting the Red Sea, like on the way out of town. Anyway, Obed is one letter removed from Obed Edom, the man who delivered the Aaron Bereth to the Temple Mount, as Dowd danced for joy, naked from the waist down, as Boaz was in this particular scene with Ruth, because they're about ready to enter the Garden of Eden again, and so the additional wah was borrowed from a man from Edom. The only thing that is different in Adam and Edom is the wah. So there's a parallel connection there. So while Obed is rooted in abad, work, and Obed, the textures delivered by the additional letter, I think are tantalizing. Obed with the wah is repeatedly exposed and enveloped to serve as a witness. And in the case, he is central to Yahowah's cast, consistent with our naked Nabi. Obed isn't hiding anything from anybody. And while he is clearly visible, he is also covered in the Spirit of God. And that is what equips Obed to work for Yahowah, making a contribution by offering testimony. It's a marvelous name again. Now, as I shared, within the amplified aspect of the translation, Obed is from Obal, which means to be stripped bare, naked, and exposed. It draws, which you have to be if you're going to work for Yah. He does not do subtle. We've been through that. You're either comfortable being exposed to him, or he's going to find somebody else. It draws meaning from Ob, which conveys the opposite, with enveloped, covered, and completely infused and permeated. It would be consistent with having the Spirit of Yah. The Od root tells us that he will be returning and repeating what he has done previously. He is one of the redeployed casts. And as Od, he is a restoring witness, providing testimony. And of course, with the verbal root of Abad, he's there to work and to serve. Now, he isn't any of those things. He is a harbinger of all of those things. Nothing. We don't have a word from the kid himself. So he did not personally live up to that name. His name is there because of what it represents and conveys to the rest of us. Now, while all of this addresses the lives of the two men positioned on either side of Obed, we were also exposed to the name which made it all possible, Yishe, I am. Cleverly, Yahowah introduced an interesting variation of the answer he provided Moshe when introducing himself by name. He said there he used Haya, which is the verb, and when it's also Ihaya, it would be I am. And here is Yishe, which should be I exist. I am. And then God positioned this affirmation of his existence such that it would reinforce the fact that Dowd is his firstborn son. Whole thing's brilliant. So these are the descendants and genealogy of Peretz. Peretz means breaching the fracture. Peretz busting forth and breaking through the fissure, fathered Christon, the herald who sounds the trumpet to protect the enclosed community. And if you remember, Peretz is the son of Yahud. It has been, as I should say, it has been the case all too often among Israelites. Peretz shows them trying to supersede and to supplant God. That was the product of the incestuous marriage between Yahud and Tamar, his daughter-in-law. The solution would be to offer a Creston, the herald who sounds the trumpet, to protect the enclosed community. In fact, this Creston is a word that permeates almost all of these prophetic portrayals of what we're going to do, what we are doing now. You find Creston infused in all of them because God likes the idea of sounding the shofar at this time. And his mission would be to Ram, which is the next name, to raise the exalted one on high and thereby reestablishing Dowd's esteem and credentials. This herald is extolling his king and how he would prevail through Ami Na'ab, which means to voluntarily sacrifice on Yom Teruah, the day of the herald. And so with each name that we consider, we get closer to the prize. So it says Creston, the herald sounding the shofar to protect the community, the trumpeter, fathered Ram, raising the exalted one on high. Ram fathered Ami Nadab, voluntarily sacrificing oneself to incite and impel people who are receptive, willfully making an offering to warn and to encourage a willing family. That's Ruth 4:19. So God's parade of Shemoth names began well and continued better. Peretz, one who came forth as Creston, a herald sounding the shofar to Ram, raised the exalted one on high, doing so through an Ami Nadab, voluntary sacrifice. Therefore, God's advice for his people is to Nachshon, observe the signs, and learn from this experience. Those who do will be Salma, properly attired to attend Dowd's homecoming and wedding. So it's Ami Nabab, voluntarily making a sacrifice to incite and impel people who are receptive. Fathered Nachshon, observe the signs and learn from this experience. Nachshon, pay attention and be diligent in revealing the future. Fathered Salma, properly attired, well-dressed. 4:20. And the rest is history. Well, future history. Salma, well dressed, fathered a fellow named Boaz with confidence, courage, and conviction. And Boaz, incontrovertible, undeniable, indisputable, and incontestable, unassailable, and irrefutable, fathered Obed, repeatedly exposed and enveloped to serve as a witness. 4:21. Obed begot Yishai, I am. And Yishai, I am, was the father of Dowd, the beloved. Ruth 4:22. Isn't that a lovely progression of names? The love of Ruth for Boaz would beget Dowd, the beloved. And he would lead, protect, and save Yisrael. Now, how's that for a great love story?
It reminds me of Leah and her 7 children and the message that's contained there.
Mm-hmm.
Only she didn't have love.
No.
She was alone.
No, she was abused.
Maybe she was with Yahowah in the end, but yeah, she was hated.
But she, in the end, after she had an abusive husband, Jacob, and she had a idol-worshiping, maniacal sister, she ultimately wrote her own biography and the names of her children.
Yeah.
And ended up recognizing that in the end, she would be Asherah. She would be the woman who blesses other women and is of great benefit to God and his people. So that was really a tough life that turned out beautiful with Leah speaking to us through the names of her sons.
In fact, I'm writing a song about that now.
Yeah.
About what the message of those names mean.
Yeah.
And it's a bit like this. The genealogy and the birth order, it does matter, and it does leave a message.
And she had to be a prophetess in a way, because she named a son Yehud. And Yehud is clearly a compound of Yahweh's name and Dowd's name.
That's right.
Now, it's interesting is that this genealogy that I read that began with Perez and was backed up earlier with the condescending, besmirching rebuke by the elders of Israel talking about Yehud and Tamar giving birth to Perez. You just go one back from there, and you're with Leah delivering Yehud to Jacob. And then it is Jacob getting his daughter-in-law pregnant to deliver Perez, and that's where that genealogy began that led to Boaz, isn't it?
Yes.
So in the midst of the mess that Israelis had made, and the first of them, and they started off bad, right in the midst of that, somebody came around that was exemplary. Now, I spent a lot of today trying to get a better appreciation for why Boaz's name is on the house for Yahweh's name. And Yahweh's name's not on the house. Why is Boaz's name there? And why is the other name Yakan? Mm-hmm. And it's a really strange name, and that it's somehow related to the Yom, which is the one that's always translated as right hand, but Yom is sea. And if you really look at the meaning of the word, you'd get to, it's the man of the sea who was chosen, is what it would mean, and yet it's called right hand. And my problem is that it's used in a place in the 62nd chapter of Yeshayah, where it's clearly speaking to the role that I've been asked to play. It's this sandwich between Nakars and Zeroas and add witnesses and all of the prophetic things that God is talking about. And you know, being the right hand is really uncomfortable, because that's Dowd. And then you go to, well, then the name is a derivation of that on the other column, being Yakin, versus being the M is replaced with the K. And with the K, you've got three hands and a son. Mm-hmm. You know, two yods with the hand reaching out and with an open hand, and then the palm of an open hand delivering the son. But the other Yom is sea, and so you have the chosen one from the sea. And now that one fits the narrative in the 62nd chapter. And then you would say, okay, I got that, but and I'm comfortable with that it's Yom is absolutely unequivocally sea, and it's not hand. And in that context, it would be the chosen one from the sea. And then to try to understand why Yakan is on the other column. And there you'd come to the conclusion that it is likely based on kun, and kun means to establish, to persevere, and that it was Boaz and Ruth who were able to restore the kinsman redeemer to the point that he would be properly established, and that he would persevere, and he would fulfill his role, and we would all benefit, and we could be established and persevere. So it's kind of a really interesting nickname for him, but you're wondering, okay, why not just say Dowd on the other column? Or if you wanted to reinforce the covenant, why not put the Alma? Why not, if you're going to have, why not have Ruth and Boaz? Because they delivered Dowd. And that Dowd is Elion. And so, Dowd is the reason the house exists. He's the Lord of the house, really. And he's coming back as all things that pertaining to God. So it's just really an interesting part of this. And sometimes you end up saying, well, I used 4 hours today trying to trace this down and come up with every insight that I can. And I'm not sure it helped finish the book, but
I can make you more uncomfortable.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. The
Thanks.
Sorry. The archaeology, and this is going back to 1923 when there was an earthquake in Yisrael, and that crappy mosque thing collapsed. What was revealed were the beams. The wooden cedar beams
and sycamore.
Yeah. Mostly cedar,
but an even amount of cedar and sycamore, lots of both. And
they were stolen by the Philistines and covered up.
Well, not by Philistines. There were no Philistines at that time. They were stolen by the Muslims, and they were used by Muslims to build the Alaska Mosque. The beams in Alaska Mosque are the beams from the first temple.
Yeah, and the pomegranates on the column are they're referenced in a few places, but very few. Mainly in reference Ramon, the pomegranates, in the Song of Songs, my beloved. My beloved, my beloved.
Yeah, she's got pomegranate colored lips. The thing about the pomegranate, and there's the two decor, maybe three decor on those columns, are pomegranates, lilies, and palms, but it's probably the lily and the pomegranate that are the decor within and on the temple. Yep. But and Leah's got a whole theory on lilies, so I'm not going to dare to go into that because I know I would run afoul of something that was part of her lilies search. But with pomegranates, it's kind of an interesting thing. First, full of seeds, and the Yisra'el and harvesting seeds is so essential to God's story. The three Yisra'el and cultivating the final harvest. Those seeds are blood red.
And they're covered.
And that's a symbol of the sacrifice, and that God says that you don't drink blood because blood is the way that you restore the soul. And so it's those brutal sacrifices that are essential to restoring the souls of God's people. And so it's bloody red. But there's something else about the pomegranate. It's got a really tough external skin.
Oh, yeah.
And you better be tough-skinned and thick-skinned if you're going to do this job, because.
And how do you get out of pomegranate? You break it.
Yeah, you have to break open the exterior, and of course the pomegranate even has a crown at the top of it that opens up. So the pomegranate is really a lovely symbol for all of those kinds of things. And I'll let Leah speak of her lilies, because I've been scolded for a month now on not doing my proper homework and having the full appreciation of the lily.
So the lilies are also spoken of in the Song of Songs. I wanted to understand it and to be able to confirm if it's related to anything in Torah. And yes, it is related to things in Torah, specific concepts and ideas. Particularly, my beloved is like a cedar, my beloved is like a lily. So the word Shoshanim is the word for lily. And it's what we use, Yahud, between ourselves to call each other like sweetheart or lovey-dove or whatever. Shoshanim.
You're a lily?
No.
Well, lily is an elegant flower that doesn't need anything to, we don't say you don't want to gild the lily. It's just elegant by itself. But I always thought that the lily was chosen because it was in the shape of the shofar. It's the shape of a trumpet.
It's the shape of a trumpet.
And it blossoms in the spring when we celebrate Pesach, Matzah, Bakodim, and it's the shape of a trumpet. And it's just so elegant and so graceful all
Here's
by
the
itself.
interesting
And so
thing,
pure white.
The very interesting thing I found out specific to lilies in Israel.
Mm-hmm.
They grow by the sea.
Mm-hmm.
This Mizmor 60 and Mizmor 80 talk about Shoshan Iduth and Shoshanim Iduth. They are two witnesses. I believe they're talking about you and Dowd. You, the lilies that are spoken of in this very poetic song is you and Dowd.
Yeah, it is Leah's view, and I've not translated the Song of Solomon, but it's Leah's view that the song in Solomon was sung to Solomon by his mother. And I think it is by his surrogate mother, because I don't think Bathsheba raised him. It was during the time that Dowd had a surrogate mother and father. And it is more likely that the mother that sung this song to him would have been the Amma. And she would have sung this love song about the love that she and Ruth had enjoyed together. And it's her view that the Song of Solomon is the song that the Amma sung to not only to Dowd, but also to Solomon when he was growing up. Solomon was very young when he took the throne. And so it was really only during the last decade or so of Dowd's life that he came back to Yahowah, that he wrote his Mizmor, that we wrote the Mashal, and that we guided him back to the man that was prepared to fulfill the Moed Mikre in his next life. And it is very likely that the Song of Solomon was the song that the Amma sung of the love that she and Boaz had had. And so if it's true, then I get out of the hot seat for kissing and telling and spilling the beans on our relationship in the book of Ruth, because the Song of Solomon would have been her spilling the beans.
Yes, but you can hide anything in a song.
But you can hide anything in a song, she says. So she was the songwriter. So anyway, it's something I hope to be able to pursue. The challenge right now, of course, is that I'm working frantically to get these 3 volumes out. I want to get the rewritten of Written in Stone out again, and then I would love to be able to do a more comprehensive review of Yeshaya again, because every time we turn to it, we learn so much more that is pertinent for us at this time. There's a few chapters of Zechariah I've not finished that I'd like to be able to integrate into the story. And then it's so timely now for us to do a comprehensive run through all of the Mashal. They're all about a mother and a father giving guidance to their son. It'd be so insightful to do that. I've done the first 6 or 7 and the 14th and the 31st and a number of in between, but I'd like to do all of them.
Number 10's pretty good.
Yeah, I think that would be a marvelous exercise. But, there's 10 months left. Now, there's going to be 1,000 years after that, and we are able to continue. So there'll be lots of opportunity. And I'm kind of hoping, that I was, as I'm translating Isaiah 62, there was really one devastating statement in there. I know it's 1,250 days, but it says that the family that is supporting the final witness, it says it's essential that you never let him go silent, or you never let him cease working. And this is day and night. So
Don't worry, babe,
all
I got
night,
you.
all day, you never allow him any rest. He must not stop. He must not cease. He must keep going day and night. So since yabbering to knuckleheads 24/7 for 3.5 years does not seem to be, a really fun thing to do. I'm hoping that some of the work can be, we'll have a keyboard and a monitor in there, and we can update some of the books, and we can add to the Yahowah vlog, and we can do some fun stuff that's, we can plug up there on the Jumbotron that is playing above our heads.
I was just thinking, it doesn't say you have to do it live and in person. Right. I mean, we could just re-roll the tape, right? We could just re-roll the tape.
We could. I think so. I think that's. So that's kind of what I'm hoping, because you read that and says, oh my God, it's already saying, and I know we're going to be revigorated, and I know there's a lot at stake and the like, and what is 3.5 years compared to 1,000 years and then eternity. However, it's still a long time in that environment, surrounded by knuckleheads. When I read that, it's 24/7, no stopping.
How many hours of content we got?
Yeah, how many hours of content do we? Yeah,
I can stretch
keep it playing,
Don't
baby.
worry. I can
Keep
stretch it. Don't worry.
Yeah, the Nesh is all over that too. So yeah, you just we'll just keep it right on playing. We got the website going. Got the we can even put in, the family stuff too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I think it's the family stuff that makes that adds so much depth and character to it all. It's I'm really, really thrilled with that family page and the way that it's come alive.
Just say it. You're proud of them.
I am proud of them. Yes. Yeah. And, we have a situation. You guys have done great with your book club and the way that you've approached it. And, we've got Will up there, man. He is he's got the bit, and he is chomping at it, man. He is going. And the guy that keeps them all together is Kevin.
Super Kevin.
Kevin is the great producer of them. And, one of these days, before too long, maybe we're going to have a Mike and our mutual pal, JB, find a way to do one. I think you guys would be really good together. You're so studious, so well read, and so well prepared. For both of you guys would just be naturals together.
Yeah, I've got to get with JB. Yeah,
it's kind of fun to do too. And the nice thing is, because of the way we're doing that, so we're not putting them in the order that they were done, so that if you do your first one and you say, that was good, but I think I can make some improvements, your second one will be at the top of the page, not your first one. And then you improve and you do a third one. Your third one's at the top of the page, not your second one. And so, and it's intermixed with everybody else's. So
the first one is just ripping off the Band-Aid.
Yeah, it is. We all learn to crawl before we walk, and we walk before we run. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Even Will, that first one, I need ears. Oh, you tell me. Oh, why didn't you tell me I needed ears? And Russell and Mariah, wait a minute. We're not supposed to be looking up the whole time. Let's see. Can we do so I can hit the inside of the nostrils? Can we do a better positioning of cameras? And and the answer is yes. But how do you know until you start?
Right.
Mm-hmm. And the thing too is that there is a credibility and a genuineness when you are comfortable enough to get going, and your first isn't perfect, but you leave it because it's real, and then you show improvement and you're growing. And isn't that the whole idea that what we're supposed to be doing?
Yes, exactly.
We're not supposed to start off as perfect. We don't even supposed to get to perfect. We're supposed to grow and learn and make improvements. So it's cool that way.
Oh, you mean like family?
Yeah.
Yes.
And the everybody has something that is unique to what they're offering, and the chemistry between the two of you guys, for example. I mean, you're beautiful together. I mean, you really are. You really are beautiful together. It is so loving and so supportive. It's just the visuals of the two of you interacting together tells a story.
agree.
It really does. It tells a story. It's a powerful story. And, and
What story does it tell?
yeah, and, we have a covenant family of
Love
mostly
covers.
introverts. And occasionally you've got somebody that, really kind of has the gift of gab and is an extrovert. And Will is the guy, I'd say if I needed to take a little vacation, we could have Will step right on up and fill right in.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Well,
so
you
it's
got to unmute
nice.
your mic.
Yeah, we need to as soon as we get him to understand he has to have ears and unmute the mic.
Yeah.
There he
With a
is.
little
I'm still learning. You
Still
can
learning.
learn months into the process. It never ends.
Yeah, still learning. Yep. And so this is what keeps it real, what makes it real. And yes, I think we can play all of these.
And if I'm a recluse and I can do it, anyone can do it.
Yeah. We are going to get Leah to do a few more vlogs on the vlog so that she's squared away on that. And we actually have, Russell, we have your wife's vacation schedule of when she can participate on the vlog. She's actually booked out now, like through January. Yes, she did. She did.
Awesome.
And Kevin's, got it all jotted down when she's
I had
going
to apply a little pressure, but yes, I got what we needed.
Yep.
I'm feeling it right now.
Yep. So,
Are you sure you want my judginess on Vlog on the Blog?
yes,
I don't have good things to say about
Yeah.
what
So
the
long. So
world-
we're
Bring it.
talking about raising children for 60 seconds at a time. We'll be,
I think breastfeeding takes longer than 60
it
seconds.
probably does.
Definitely.
It does. So, and you have your children are supposed to be adult children,
Yeah.
and you're supposed to sing to them, and you're supposed to teach them and nurture them. And there's lots of rules there. And I've read a lot about the AMA. I've never seen one place where it says change a dirty diaper.
Nope.
Nope. And there's no place that says you can't have a nanny because that's the first thing you did with Naomi and say, "Here you go, babe." Oh,
Go to grandma.
yeah.
Andy Naomi. It's funny.
Yep. All right. So
There are plenty
we'll
of
sign off
Naomis.
here in a minute. What do you have to add there, Rich? Just glad we didn't lose any streams.
Didn't lose any streams. A wonderful way to wrap up the Shabbat.
It is.
We got more to
Finish the Ruth
dig
story.
into.
Yeah, what we're going to do, I think, is we're going to start the series on Bashar Herald. And it's going to take us to some really, really interesting places. So it'll be the 33rd, 34th, and 35th Mizmor is the beginning of it. And then it goes through the story of the Herald, and it's going to be some very, very interesting insights and as we make our way through it.
There's probably going to be more interruptions from the AMA.
Oh, good. Well, we're hoping that is that's the case. But we made it through a very, very long book, and now with all of these, this is the end of the Luminary series, and that's Coming Home 6. And we've gone through the whole book even before it was published.
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is
Isn't that something?
pretty darn remarkable when you consider what we have
67
just
episodes. We've almost topped the 80 mark, like with Katsir Harvest. So
Yes.
of the series, it's like wow.
Yeah, there's no place where God said that the Choder is the master. That is the job of Sure Shorts, is to be the yes, he is the talkative stick. So if you're going to fill 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for 1,250 days, you better have something to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth of the matter is, you could turn on the lights and the cameras, and we know enough about who Yahweh is, what he's offering, what his people need to hear, that we could literally talk for 1,250 days.
Easily.
24 hours a day.
We could. I mean, seriously, we
Jesus.
could.
I love every second of it.
And love every second of it. Yeah, they just smile and have insights and tell funny stories and And at this point, you might as well have fun with it, because it's going to be pretty gruesome around Israel. Something's got us. It has to be a smile here and there along the way.
Yep.
So thank you, Mike, for that the completion of the insights pertaining to Shaphat Judges, because it's essential to understanding the Ruth and Boaz story. They don't just fall into a happily ever after. This is a tough deployment because of what has gone on. This is Yahweh saying, even when you consider their genealogy, Boaz's genealogy, that I can turn lemons into lemonade. There is hope for my people here. There's hope for Naomi, and the hope for the rabbinical lot would take a lot longer, but it would eventually come.
Yeah. And on pomegranates, I think the most interesting thing about pomegranates is the three different colored pomegranates on the high priest's robe: blue, purple, and scarlet. And I know I sent this to you a long time ago, and you did include it in one of the books. I don't remember which one, but I have pomegranate bushes. And one year there was a windstorm, and I noticed
I remember
I counted all the flowers.
Yes.
Most pomegranates have 6. The crown, the petals that make the crown of the pomegranate, there's 6.
Yes.
Most of them have 6 spikes, which is the number of man, right?
You're right.
So the reason I think there's 3 pomegranates on the high priest's robe is there's 3 destinations, right? There's Sheol, that just die, and soul that dissipates, and then Shamaim. So the majority of the petals I counted had 6 petals. So that's number man. So that's, most people are just going to die, souls dissipate. There was a fewer number that had 7 petals or crowns, and then there was, or points. And then there was fewer that had 5. So it's a bell curve,
Yes.
6 sigma or 3 sigma, distribution.
Right. Yeah. No, I remember you sending that. I remember including it in the book, and it is fascinating that, that all of that is true, that it is the bell curve. And so the pomegranate really is a thick-skinned, tough-skinned man that is going to bleed on behalf of the people, and that he will ultimately wear a crown, and that crown represents the 3 destinations for human souls, because of how they interact with what the pomegranate represents.
Yeah,
there's even a place in Israel called Beth Ramon.
Yeah, Ramon. Ramon is the Hebrew word for pomegranate, and it appears throughout the testimony. It's a very profound title that is used throughout.
Right. So the number of man is 6, and number of God is 1. So 1 plus man plus God is 7, and God man without God is 5. So
5. You got all
3 destinations.
Right, 5, 6, and 7, and the number of spikes on those crowns.
Yeah.
Yep. It's he's pretty good at the metaphor things.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's had some experience. Created the language. Created the fruit.
Created all of the things.
Yes. Yeah. Created it all. All right. Well, why don't we, if we want to play a don't wait on our exit, now that we've had a full review of who Ruth is and who Boaz is, and everything that God has to say about them. And
may I dedicate this particular song to all the Naomis out there?
All the Naomis out there. Yeah. And I think that's what you're trying to say, that that this Ruth that's coming into town, she is representing the transformation in all of the Naomis. So you can come in a little dirty, a little unaware. You can come in, you don't have it all figured out yet. And so long as you're willing to return to Yahweh, accept him and his beloved son, and pay attention to the basics, we're very quickly entering a period with the remnant where not a lot is expected of them. And they have 1,000 years to get it right. And our job is to help them get it right. And the more of these prophecies you read at the end, well, there is, God's not asking anybody to pick up their cross and follow him. So there's nobody that's being asked to make this sacrifice here or beyond the firing line. But it's really clear that there is a team of people that are in support. And in the passage that I'm reading right now, it's from Zechariah 12 that I was just translating before I came here. And it speaks specifically of this group of highly committed people that are exceedingly thoughtful and devoted to Yahweh, that are in support of what he's achieving in this last days. So it's an ode to who we are and what we're trying to achieve. All right, well, let's play our song on the way out. It was fun to finish the book of Ruth. I'm glad we were able to get it done. I think it was a very rewarding and insightful evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank all of you.
Thank you.
Shabbat
You're
shalom.
appreciated.
Shabbat shalom.
Loved.
Shabbat shalom.
Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Don't wait to become immaculate before you start existing. Crawling crooked, full of dust in your hair, right out of Moab with sunburnt skin. Crawling with lies in your pockets, yesterday's blood on your lip, and a soul that still smells faintly of bad decisions, culminating in an oven with burn that saw. Yeah, I did not ask. For a prayer, no monument. He asked for a witness, like a cracked vessel to mend a tired grin. Shabbat, Shabbat, come home and rest. Shabbat, Shabbat, Yahowah's best. Lay down the weak, let your soul be free. Shabbat, Shabbat, come back to me. 6 days we work, then we bask. We leave the noise to hear Yah's voice. We listen, we learn, we struggle to know. We walk with Yah through the Mikri. Shabbat, Shabbat, come home and rest. Shabbat, Shabbat, Yahowah's best. Lay down the weak, let your soul be free. Shabbat, Shabbat, come back to me.